Hey guys, welcome to this reshade installation and explanation tutorial. So before we get into actually how to install reshade and then how to work reshade in the game, I actually quickly want to show you guys why you would ever install reshade. Now, if you didn't notice, I have it on right now, and if I click the off button, as you can see, the game changes dramatically. In my opinion, this looks worse than when I have it enabled, right? But that might be different for you. So in this tutorial, as you can see here, you will actually have the option to perfectly do everything you want. So if you want more ambient light, right, there you go, you just click it. I will explain this more later on, but in this tutorial I'm gonna explain everything you will be able to do. And this also means that if you think your computer can't handle it, you will basically be able to shut some of these things off. And as you can see, if I put the FPS on the screen, some of these cause a bit of lag. Like that one caused me an FPS, and then when I remove it, there it is again, right? Some of these do not cause any lag. So even if your computer isn't that great, this tutorial can really help you. So let's get right into the tutorial. Let me explain how you... So now we're here in Chrome, and I'm actually in the reshade repository. Now this link will be down in the description, so you can just click it down in the description, and then the first thing you need to do is actually download the program. So you go to reshade 3.0, which is the version that works the best in my opinion. I've tried quite a bit of these. The newest doesn't work at all in my opinion, but then basically when you click 3.0, you will then need to click this one, and as you can see, you can just download it, and then it will start downloading, right? So we'll just have to wait for this to finish downloading, and then once that's done, I'll be right back. So to the desktop again, you will basically drag the file that you just downloaded onto your desktop, and this is where it will ask you to select which game you want to install. Now to figure this out, you will probably have a logo on your desktop for Farm Simulator, and now this is in a different language, but if you search for the one below open, it will say file location open. Click that, and that will bring you to your main installation folder of Farming Simulator 2019. Now, in this folder, you will probably have either a file that is x64 like me, but some of you might have a file that's called x86. Doesn't matter anyway, but just double click the file you have, x64 or x86. And in this, you will find three files. One is a game, and then these other two are to launch the game. Now, this is where you're gonna have to click in the program, right? So just remember this location. You can copy it like this, Ctrl+C, or just press copy. Then, next thing to do, we need to select a game. Right, so as you can see, we're already here, but anyway, if we weren't here, you would just go to paste, and there we go. Then you're gonna select the game, open that, and then we're gonna select DirectX 10+. Now it's gonna prompt you and ask you if you want to download the reshade shaders. You're gonna just select yes, and then you're gonna start downloading. So we'll let that downloading finish, and then we'll be right back. So now that it is done downloading, you will be prompted with this screen right here. You're just gonna press OK, and then it's all done. You can close this. By this point, you can actually remove this. So there we go. Now, basically, you could launch the game right now, but there is a problem with this version. As I said, this version does work the best in-game, but when it comes to all the effects working, that actually does not work. So what we're gonna do is we're gonna actually open this folder and then go here, and then in this folder you have that went a bit too quick maybe. So basically you're gonna open the folder that you installed it in, and then you're gonna open reshade, and then go to shaders, and then here are all your shader effects. Now I'm gonna put on the screen which ones to remove, and then just remove these out of this folder, right? Right, if you've removed those shaders, you can go to your logo of your game that you want, of the farming simulator, and then I don't know if this has to be done for you guys, but I'm gonna say that it might be important. So you're gonna want to run this program as administrator. So you're gonna right click, go to properties, go to compatibility, and then click on run this program as administrator. So apply, okay, and then double click the program, click OK, and then the game should launch. Right, as you guys can see, the shaders loaded on the top. This might took a little bit of time, but that's okay. So quick little disclaimer: if you've played FS 17, you know that you will have to change some settings in the in the display options, but for FS 19 that is not necessary. You can just keep your settings as they are. So next thing to do is actually go into a game, because if you want to set up your shaders, you should be in a game, otherwise it won't make any sense. You can't set up a shader on a home screen. So I'm just gonna pick the map Guys back because it looks nice, and it's a map I would actually play instead of the main game. So we're just gonna go back to where we were. As you can see, the game looks a bit crap. So how to get up the overlay? You're gonna press Shift and then F2. If you have editor mode enabled or something, you will get your FPS. This is a bit difficult, but then you will be prompted in game with the actual shader overlay. So this is gonna want you to do a quick tutorial. That's okay. Just press continue, press the plus sign, and type in something here. This is basically a profile that you're making. Then it's gonna explain you this. I'm gonna do that later. So continue, finish. There we go. Now we're in the shader. So here in this tab you have all your shader options, and these will basically enable shaders. So this one, for instance, as you can see, it moved some stuff, and this enables fog, and this is ambient light, right? Basically I'm gonna run through some that I like, and then I'm gonna show you how you can maybe improve some FPS below. So if you scroll, you can obviously try these. Adaptive sharpening, this makes it all a bit sharper, as you can see. Now, for instance, if I want to actually change adaptive sharpening a bit, you will go down here, and you can see it's now at 1000. If we move this down a bit, it will actually go down. So you can choose the sharpening amount that you would like. Now I think it will be good around here, right? And then on to the next one. We're gonna scroll down. You could just, of course, do ambient light. Now this, in my opinion, isn't really that nice of a reshade of a shader, but so I'm not gonna enable it, but you could. Bloom and lens flare is basically a bit of the vehicles. Scrolling down, colorfulness, this allows you to actually set a vibrance in the game. So you're just gonna scroll down until you see colorfulness here, and there it is. If you want to change this, you can obviously change how you would like it, right? So what if I would want it like this? You can, but I think it'll be good around here. There we go. So going further down, curves just make shadows a bit more darker. As you can see, that's one I use sometimes. Going further down, as I'm showing the FPS, as you can see, I haven't dropped that much actually. HDR is also one that actually just darkens the shadows. I would prefer to use curves. HDR makes it lag a bit more, but you could. and then of course you can enable however you want it down here. Motion blur. Now this is actually a pretty funny one. As you can see, I actually have a bit of motion blur in the game. Right, maybe for the motion blur fans out there. Right, Fxaa I would always enable if you don't have that much of an FPS decrease, because this will basically make the edges of tractors and buildings and stuff a bit rounder, a bit nicer, right? Going further down, these I don't really use, but you could, like levels, it makes it really dark. Going further down, Luma Sharpening makes it sharpener. Now this is a big one in my opinion. This actually, as you can see, gives you all the shadows on the vehicles, on the grass. So let's go to a bit of grass so I can show you guys what I mean. Alright, we can't go through here, that's fine. Alright, here we are. So let's actually get that FPS back. Now, because I'm looking over here, there's something over here that makes it lag, so my FPS is going down a bit, but that's fine. Let's go scroll down in the bottom section until we find MXAO. And there it is, alright. And here you can see some options. Now, with this one, which I think most of you will actually want the shaders for, here you can see the ambient occlusion amount. If you up this, you can see that the shadows get more, right? So I'm gonna put them around here. We don't want it too much, but we want it visible, right? Now, in this version 3.0.8, it's actually really awesome, because you can put the fade out, which will save you some FPS. As you can see, actually works. It's actually changing. It's now over here. If I move it up a bit, it's going further. Now you don't want this to be too far, because that will lag your system. But moving this slider, you can actually set the gamma amount, so this will make it a bit more dark with less ambient occlusion, which as you saw, ambient occlusion makes it a bit weary. Now this is really interesting. If you press the enable debug view into this channel, it will actually completely change your game, but this will show you how this shader looks at the grass, right? It's an interesting view. Back, however, and that's MXAO for you. Now there's of course night vision if you guys have some trouble in the night. Further, here's SMAA, which I would also recommend putting on. And then on the bottom I also have Vibrance and Vignette on. But these I also do change a bit. Vibrance I turn down a little bit. Really low, just a small amount. So that is basically how you use reshade, how you install reshade. And I hope this helped. As I said, some shortkeys were Shift F2 to open the menu, and then if you go to settings, you have here some more shortcuts. So if you want to toggle the effects, you can press this and then go, for instance, scroll lock, which is above your home key. And this is how I can turn the effects on and off. And as you can see, that is a pretty tremendous amount. In my opinion, this adds a lot to the game. And yeah, if you're watching this video, you probably think the same. Now, there is this performance mode that you can enable. This doesn't really do that much for performance, so I don't bother with it, but you can try it. Maybe it helps your system. That actually changed, so let's change that back. And then further about statistics, this is basically an overview of your FPS, and then about some thank and some other stuff, not that important. So now if you want to remove the shaders, all you have to do is delete these files, not these two and this one, and then just press delete, say okay, and then you have removed the shaders again. So if you don't like them, That's how you remove them. Right? Thanks for watching. Bye guys.